right, so you're a little bit surprised at the outcome with the Bills dominating the Patriots last night. You also thought that both those quarterbacks were going to have better days than they ended up having throughout the air. I mean, if you think, the Jets and what it means for the Jets, as we were talking about all week, if the Bills won and the Patriots lost, like what happened, then you feel like the Patriots get knocked down a peg, which is fine because the Patriots have the tiebreaker over the Jets. But if the Bills had lost, you had a shot at the division. That's now sort of out there.
That would be this weekend.
Right.
Now, when you take a look at what happened and you say, okay, how does it affect the Jets? Well, the Jets still have to play the Bills. And they've already beaten the Bills once.
That's right.
So they're a game behind them if they can win this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're a game behind them and they win this weekend, they still have a shot at the AFC East crown. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that could happen, but they have to win. And the number one question that I was asked last night from every Jet fan, what about Mike White? What about Mike White? What about Mike White? I mean, it was just a Mike White discussion from, start to finish.
Yeah.
And everybody is fascinated by this young man and fascinated by his story. And now the question is, can he do it again? That's really what it comes down to.
And I fully believe that he will. And I've watched a lot of Jets football this year, all of it. I've watched a lot of Vikings football this year. I know what these two teams are all about. If things go the way that they have gone for both of these teams in recent memory, especially last week with the passing game with Mike White, then I believe the Jets win this game. This is not a good matchup for the Minnesota Vikings. Any team that's got a defense like the Jets have, pressure on the quarterback, a great corner in Sauce Gardner that's going to give Justin Jefferson potentially some problems, and the fact that Mike White can throw the ball down the field and he could find those open wide receivers. Every single week, there's open wide receivers running all over the place in the Vikings defense. I think that Mike White's going to have another very, very good game, and I do believe the Jets win. I think he keeps it rolling this week. I don't know if it's going to continue throughout the rest of the season, but I think for this week, Sunday at 1 o'clock, I think he does it again. I mean, if he did it in the rain, for crying out loud, he's going to be able to do it in a dome.
There's really just one thing that worries me when it comes to the Jet defense, and I know the Jet defense has been good. They've had the one real big signature win, and that was the home game against Buffalo. Now, they've gone on the road and they've won with very little offense. So that's a testament to their defense. But you see who they have played when it comes down to the offenses. Some of the worst offenses in the league, and in some cases, a backup quarterback, much like what happened with Miami when Miami came in here. So Miami played with a backup quarterback. You lost to Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. They scored 27 points on you. You beat Kenny Pickett. You beat the backup in Miami. You beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. They were in the middle of their swoon at that point in time, and their offense was terrible. You beat Denver out in Denver. They suck, their offense. You lost to New England, and New England's offense isn't that great, and you saw that last night. And then came the Buffalo victory where you actually did something defensively, and you got after Josh Allen. So that's the performance right there that I'm hanging kind of like my decision-making this weekend against your Vikings.
Well, the Vikings have a very similar story as what you just pointed out with the Jets. Their one signature win was against Buffalo, but it was up at Orchard Park.
That was a freak show.
Right. They also beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in week 1, who have had a miserable season. They also played the backup quarterback in Miami and won that game. The only big difference.
That would be Skylar Thompson, by the way.
Right. And then Teddy Bridgewater ended up coming in and playing as well that week. The only real difference is the Vikings got completely blown out by the Cowboys, where you haven't really seen that with the Jets getting completely blown out.
Right.
But the only real difference is the Vikings beat the Patriots on Thanksgiving, and the Jets lost to the Patriots twice. And
that's because of Zach Wilson. They weren't getting much from their offense.
Right, exactly.
Now the big question is what can Mike White, continue to do? Can he do what he did against the Bears? The Bears are probably the second or third worst team in the league right now, especially when you don't have Justin Fields. The big thing about this game going to Minnesota is not just your own defense trying to stop Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins and all this other stuff. But it's your offense matching the point total that you think that Minnesota is going to put up, even though the Jet defense is worthy. Can the Jet defense hold Minnesota to 23 or less points?
Yes, they can. Absolutely.
You believe that?
Yeah, I do. So, I mean, if you think about the best defenses that the that the Vikings have faced, you'd say the Commanders are one of those defenses?
Yep.
They only scored 20 points against the Commanders.
Right, on the road in Washington.
Right. Do you think the Cowboys are one of those defenses?
Yep.
All right, they scored 3 points against the Cowboys. Would you say the Eagles are one of those defenses?
I would say they were one of those defenses. Their defensive line has taken a few hits.
All right.
Their running game, their run defense hasn't been as good the last 3 weeks.
So they scored 7 points against the Eagles. The only defense that is a legit defense that they actually put up big points against, well, the Bills game, as we said, that was a freak show game. But that one and then the Patriots, they put 33 points up against the Bills and the Patriots.
Okay.
So those are the ones. But these other very good defenses that they have faced, they have not done well against.
So the Jets are the 4th-ranked defense in the NFL in terms of yards given up.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good.
I mean, they're one of the best in football, clearly. And the
Minnesota Vikings are the 31st ranked defense in yards given up.
This is what I've been telling you. And the reason why they've been able to hang around and win games is winning turnover battles and then keeping teams out of the end zone at the end of games and being able to come back and win games. That's how
I think the Vikings are the number 2 team in turnover differential, or maybe the number 3 team. Number 3 team now. Well, they're tied with Baltimore. I guess they're +6 and Baltimore's a +8. So
yeah.
So it goes, Philadelphia, Baltimore, the Vikings, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and the Giants, and they're all teams with winning records, of course.
Yeah. So I mean, this is I know what a good matchup is for them. I know what a bad matchup is for them. The Jets and Mike White. Now, if it was Zach Wilson, it'd be a great matchup for him. But it's Mike White, and Mike White hits those open wide receivers. He knows where to throw the ball. It's going to be indoors. It's a bad matchup for them. And there's also, a guy a diehard Viking fan I talk to from time to time who sends me a DM, said the same thing to me. He goes, "We're losing this week."
Really?
Yeah. I mean, wow. And it's because we know what this team is. And on top of it, I've seen all these Jet games. I know who they are, too. I think it's a terrible matchup for them.
Here I am thinking that you're all activated as a Viking fan.
I am.
Now all of a sudden you're telling me that your team's going to lose this week.
I am activated, but I'm being realistic about it.
All right.
Now, I mean, there's teams on this schedule that's coming up for the Vikings that are great matchups for them. This is not one of them.
This is not one of them. Yeah.
This just isn't one of them. So and of course I'm activated. Of course I'm going to be rooting my ass off for them and want them to win. I'm just being realistic about it. I mean, if I was in that, if I was breaking down film with Kevin O'Connell, I wouldn't be like, we're going to lose this game. I would say these are the things we need to do to make sure we don't lose the game.
So what does your offensive line look like right now?
Well, Christian Darrisaw still needs to be cleared. He's the big left tackle.
Yes.
Outside of that, everybody is healthy. But, that is a big deal. He dealt with a concussion. I did not see yesterday. It was a crazy day for me, so I didn't see if he ended up practicing yesterday.
Yeah.
But he's been out for the last 2 games with a concussion. And, yeah, see, the Vikings not really putting a timetable on Christian Darrisaw.
So he's not playing this week.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.